Welcome back. As of last week, business owners, especially those in the hospitality industry, had to make a host of changes to better accommodate the more than 50 million Americans who are disabled in one way or another. John McLaughlin says one of those changes, however, had to be delayed.
Well, Benita, these are all changes to the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the biggest of these changes making swimming pools, both public and private, accessible. The change has been delayed until May 15th. Joe Connelly is looking forward to that date. Joe Connelly has not walked for 53 years, since he was shot in the head in a hunting accident. What about going to a swimming pool or a public park?
That's hard.
Joe works for the state and goes on a cruise about once a year. He says most cruise ships are disabled friendly, and that's when Joe finally is able to go for a swim. What if you had a lift, an automatic lift?
That would be great. That would be sensational.
Here at the Queensbury Ramada Inn, they just finished installing this $4,000 lift chair that's now required by the Americans with Disabilities Act. Though the manager insists they get very few requests from disabled travelers. But you don't get much demand for pool accessibility?
I've actually never had that request, but perhaps I will now.
Fines can reach $50,000, but enforcement seems kind of lax. No changes, for instance, are needed if it imposes an unreasonable burden. So they got to do something.
Yeah, and I think the problem is where they're doing nothing. That's where we see litigation ensuing.
Joe Connelly says these latest changes to the law are just small victories in a never-ending struggle. Do you get the feeling that you're left out of a lot of things?
Yes.
Incidentally, the company that installed the chairlift of the Ramada in Upstate Solar of Catskill says there's a 50% tax credit for making the changes, so it's not quite as expensive as it seems at first. Bill Fitzmaurice of Upstate Solar says they have back orders for the chairlifts, so they're very happy that this thing's been delayed for a couple months now.
And what if they can't get them in time?
No, if you read this law and you read some of the accounts of this law, it seems very, very accommodating.
Okay.
Nobody's going to jail or paying a huge fine.
As long as they're in the process of doing it.
That's right.
Well, that's great. John, thank you.
All right. Thank you, John.